my skin has never been as freshly rotten. Bathed in blood products from deaditesondeck.com has pampered my body until it is as fresh as the day they laid me in the grave. Head on over to Deadites on Deck today and get that fresh from the grave feeling.
Hi, I am Ozzy the Wonder Squirrel. Don't forget to watch Evil Dead Chick on Deadites on Deck on YouTube. Oh, and subscribe, man!
Watching movies, Evil Dead Chick, and the gang, funny, strange, hysterical, or just plain bad. This weekend just got amazing. It's a watch-along weekend. Horror and sci-fi, comedy and more, we got it all this weekend. This weekend just got amazing. It's a watch-along weekend. Horror and sci-fi, comedy and more, we got it all this weekend.
Howdy, gang. Hey, the poet, thank you for the birthday wishes. As I said on Facebook, sorry, I think I got a voicemail. I'll have to check that later. But as I said on Facebook, I wanted to thank everybody that took time out of their day to wish me a happy birthday, whether they told me on here or on Facebook or in person or whatever. It made turning the big 50 a lot easier. So thank you to everybody that sent along some birthday wishes. And now, you know, this is the coup de grace. We're going to cap everything off with my birthday weekend celebration watch along weekend. And we're going to be watching Happy Birthday to Me. Now, I forgot to find a copy of this in advance. For those of you that don't have a copy, I am watching the Kino Lorber Blu-ray that came out not that long ago. And I am on the Columbia Pictures logo about 36 seconds in on this Blu-ray. But give me just a second. And I noticed, I don't know if it's going to make me freeze up this time, but when I went back and was just checking how the one went from last night, when I switched tabs, it didn't freeze me up, or at least it didn't on my end. So I'm going to try this again. Just give me just 1 second, folks. Let's see if I can find a copy of this. go. Let's see here. Okay. So it looks like it is available on Tubi if you want to watch it for free. Let's see if I can get that link here. All right. So let me put that Tubi link in there for anybody that needs a copy of this to watch. Now, if you don't have the commercial-free version of Tubi, there are going to be commercials, just, word of warning. Let me just double check. It's kind of hard to find on YouTube. Well, you can buy it or rent it. Looks like. It looks like it's going to be Tubi. If you want to be able to watch the movie for free. All right. Let me switch back here. All right. So again, I'm on the Columbia Pictures logo, about 36 seconds in on my Kino Lorber Blu-ray. And more than likely, the copy that Tubi is using is probably from one of these high-def releases. So I'll give everybody a few minutes to get queued up that's going to be watching along. Again, it's not a requirement that you watch the movie. If you want to just come in here and hang out and listen to me talk about the movie and stuff like that and enjoy the always awesome company that we have in here, that is fine with me. You can take restroom breaks when you want, a snack break. In fact, I'm probably going to get a piece of my birthday cake at some point near the beginning of this. And you guys and gals that come to a lot of my stuff or all of my stuff, you're used to me, taking myself out of the stream for a little bit and actually, going and taking a restroom break or getting a snack. You found it, the poet? Again, I'll give, anybody that's going to be watching along, I'll give you about a minute or two more. Folks, I really want to do the first episode of Evil Dead Chicks Tiki Bar tomorrow, but I'm going to have to see how the land lays because I've got to do a little bit of work if I want to get paid next week. So we'll see how things go. I want to be able to do that, and I want to be able to do a pre-recorded video and put it out. I also want to do a positive renegade. I just got to wait and see how long I'm going to be working. And if I don't get to do it tomorrow, then you better believe the next Sunday I'm going to do both, okay? We just got to see how the land lays. I got to make sure that, I got enough money to pay my bills and what have you. Oh, I did get I don't know if y'all can see that cardboard box back there, but that is my new sublimation oven. It arrived today on my birthday, and I haven't even had a chance to open it because me and Steve made a trip to my mom and dad's. My dad, unfortunately, wasn't there. He was out selling his wares, for his Red Barn Antiques and Collectibles. But I got to visit with my mom a little bit, and that was good. And we got back later this afternoon or evening, and I ate something real quick and then decided to get ready for this. So other than to remind you to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and share my channel with friends and family, Deadites on Deck, by the way, that you think might enjoy the content that I'm putting out. I appreciate it all. And again, thank you guys and gals for all the birthday wishes. It really warmed my heart and made me feel special. Sometimes we get to feeling down on ourselves, and sometimes it's just a simple thing as people wishing you happy birthday to pick you back up and put you back in the saddle again. So I do want to thank everybody again, no matter what way you chose to wish me a happy birthday. I appreciate each and every birthday wish that I got today. And before, because I have one guy that wishes me a happy birthday starting at the beginning of the week on Facebook on my birthday week. And the poet, I think you said something about my birthday week was starting when I did, I think, celluloid trash probably this past Monday. But I guess we'll go ahead and get started. And if anybody comes in here a little bit later, we can help you with a timestamp and all that good stuff. So here we go. Let's do the countdown. 3, 2, 1. Press play. Let me make sure that I've got the subtitles turned on for this. I mean, it's not like I haven't seen this movie a million times, but if I have the subtitles, I like to have them, or have them turned on rather. And I'll tell you, while we're going through the credits here, I will tell the story about how I discovered this movie. I discovered this movie you remember when the grocery stores had video rentals in them? I'm sure you guys and gals do. That's where I was in a local grocery store, and I was looking at what they had, and I came across the VHS with this cover, and my eyes, as a young horror fan, my eyes were immediately drawn to that. And the fact that it says 6 of the most bizarre murders you will ever see. Now, I don't know if that is completely true, but it was enough to grab my attention. And this is a Canadian-made movie. There's Miss Leslie Donaldson there that was in a lot of different Canadian films, a lot of horror Canadian films. We're going to see a lot of, if you watch a lot of Canadian horror or a lot of Canadian films in general, you're going to see a lot of familiar faces from films. And you'll probably, be able to pick those out. We got a couple of guys from Meatballs that are on here. We have Leslie Dawson. We have Lisa Langlois. So we'll see how many you guys and gals can pick out during the course of this movie. And this is always, always from the moment I set my eyes on that VHS cover. This has been one of my favorite horror movies of all time, and I always like to pull it out around my birthday. Unfortunately, this past week I'd been so busy, doing things for the new job that I just completely forgot about pulling out, the other 2 movies I usually watch around my birthday, which is Bloody Birthday and Madhouse. And believe it or not, Madhouse does have a birthday theme to it. And I discovered that a few years back. Yeah, I like the intro music too. The Poet, unfortunately, I can't listen to it right now. We see Leslie Donaldson's character is Bernadette is getting attacked here. But speaking of the music, several years ago, a DVD was put out of this, and everybody was super excited because it had, I believe it had this artwork or kind of similar artwork. But they had changed the music to a disco theme by somebody called Streeta, I think. And it just totally did not work for this scene where she's being attacked, especially. You don't want to have some hard pumping disco music in the background. To me, it just doesn't work. Now, on prom night, when Wendy was running around and being chased by the killer with an axe, and you could hear the music playing in the school gym, yeah, I mean, that was okay. But it just didn't work for this. And anybody that saw that version of it, I was like, what in the heck? So if you saw that version, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And so I'm so glad later releases that were put out had the original music that a lot of us that have seen this a bunch of times have, heard over and over and become accustomed to. Poor Bernadette just can't catch a break here. She keeps getting attacked and thinks she's going to be okay. And the killer goes on the attack again. Leslie Donaldson was also in Curtains, which was another Canadian horror movie, and Funeral Home, which was Canadian as well. Had a lot of Canadian people. It had Alf Humphreys from, God rest his soul, from My Bloody Valentine, who played Howard. So this is somebody she knows because she was, oh, thank God you're here, and then gets throat slit. And you will notice that Melissa Sue Anderson plays Virginia in this, and Virginia is pretty much our main character. And yes, that Melissa Sue Anderson that played Mary Ingalls in Little House on the Prairie. And I read an article about the time that this came out, and Melissa Sue Anderson was getting tired of being on the prairie, folks, at this point in time, and she wanted to stretch her legs, and she wanted to. And there's Matt Craven there. He was in Meatballs, and there's an alumni there of The Young and the Restless. I remember watching her on Young and the Restless. And that's real quick. There was Lisa Langlois. And there's Melissa Sue Anderson. But anyway, back to what I was talking about. I had read an article that came out around the time that she was in Happy Birthday to Me. And like I said, Melissa Sue Anderson at that point in time was tired of being on the prairie. She was tired of, every bad thing happening to her. And she kind of listed all the bad things that they could do to Mary. She went blind. She, I think, lost a baby, and just on and on and on. And there's another alumni of Meatballs that just walked in. Playing Alfred here. I love George. A little rat here. And this also is a little bit longer of a movie than what we have been watching, especially compared with what we watched last night, at an hour and 50 minutes. So if some of you have to cut on out of here early, I will totally understand. Oh, goodness. I ate the rest of my salad from Texas Roadhouse earlier, and I think it's coming back to bite me. So they're going to play a little prank on these guys that were drunk and singing. They're going to put George in the Steiner of beer. Now, you're going to see the kids playing something they call the game. And you're going to see that Virginia is going to become very frightened. And at first, you may be kind of confused, why is she scared of this game? What's going on? And you're going to figure out throughout the course of the movie why Virginia is terrified of this game. $20, that was a lot of money back in 1981, folks. Sorry, folks, my Facebook is going off. And you can see what they're doing. The bridge is going up, and they've all got numbers, and that's the order they go in, and they're all trying to jump this bridge in their respective vehicles. So Matt Craven's character said, screw it, basically, I'm not doing this. But Greg is going to go ahead and tempt fate. Now, you saw her scream mother there, or heard her scream mother. I'd be mad as hell if I got tore up my front end of my car, especially a car like that. But it's all gonna, make sense. So if this is the first time you are watching this, everything's gonna make sense the further we get into the movie. Oh, oops, sorry. Yeah, that's the character of Steve that's played by Matt Craven. He's the one that chickened out. Now we're going to see Virginia's going to go to a cemetery near her house to visit a grave. Ooh, folks, I may have to get that cake sooner rather than later. I thought I'd be okay eating that salad, but so we're finding out that it's her mother's grave that she's going to. And we're going to find out more about her mother and about her relationship with her mother and why there's so much trauma for her associated with her mother and with the game the kids were playing. Well, thank you, Uncle Bill. I appreciate that. For the 1999 super chat. I appreciate that a lot. And I will definitely get me I'll try to get me a Blu-ray, but thank you very, very much. I appreciate it. Oh, and I had the poet. Yeah, if you need me to get you up to speed after your ads are over, let me know. Thank you for also being in here, Uncle Bill, for my birthday weekend celebration, watch along weekend. This guy, Antien, or however they pronounce his name, is just such a sleazeball. She's in the graveyard at her mother's grave. Okay, I am at the point where she's already went back to the house and she's talking to her father. So I'm about 16 minutes and 32 seconds in. And Virginia is arguing with her father about she thinks he doesn't want her to visit her own mother's grave. So this is going to make sense too about what her father's saying about I don't want. She's talking about getting her memories back and stuff like that, and he said I don't want any of those memories to change what we have together. And, she says, I like my school. I like my friends. I love living here. Please don't take that away from me. And he says, if this is where you want to live, then we'll live here. Folks, I hate to go away this early in the film, but we're about 20 minutes in. So that's usually when I take a little break. I'm going to go get me a piece of birthday cake and maybe take a restroom break, and I will be right back. But y'all keep watching along. And DePoet, if you need more help getting synced up, when I get back, we'll get you taken care of. All right, gang, I'm back. It's my cake. Darcy. Darcy probably wants some of my cake. You don't get my cake, Darcy. So we're just about to see another scene here where their professor or their teacher is going to electrify a frog's leg and it's going to move, and that's going to push Virginia to have some kind of flashback. Okay. So a lot of this stuff is going to be segmented, discombobulated. And if this is your first time watching it, you're going to be like, what is all this? So I promise it's all going to make sense at the end or near the end. But right now we're getting little bits and pieces. So some of you, especially if you've never seen this movie before, are probably thinking, what the heck? Because we're seeing Virginia with her head bandaged, and it's like she's having almost like she's having a seizure. And so her father's being told that the brain tissue is, uh, regenerating. Oops. So she's starting to, things are starting to come back to her. And this is her friend and doctor, David, who she confides in about what she's going through. So, in essence, Virginia was a guinea pig for a new procedure that would regenerate tissue and organ tissue and also brain cells. And David's telling her, each day she's going to remember a little bit more. And then she says, even the accident. So you may be thinking, well, what accident? But it's all going to come to light, I promise. Rudy must be a little bit of a ladies' man there. Because he's got a girlfriend and he's flirting shamelessly with Virginia there, though. So apparently, Steve was taking bets on whether Etienne would win this motorcycle or dirt bike race or whatever you want to call it. So $200 back in 1981, yeah, that probably was a lot of money. So remember when I said Etienne was a sleaze? He stole Virginia's panties, and he said I had to win. I was carrying these close to my heart. And Alfred's looking a little like he'd like to do some terrible things to Etienne there. This is actually introducing Tracy Bregman, who is Virginia's close friend there. So Etienne is, I believe he's cleaning his bike up, and it looks like our killer may be descending upon him here shortly. Now, when I said I don't know for sure if these are 6 of the most bizarre murders I would ever see, that did not mean that they're not creative, right? All I can tell you is he shouldn't have the scarf on. When I realized, oh, yep. See why I told you you didn't need to have that scarf on? Because this will happen to you. Forgot to bring my watch along weekend overlay up. So Anne and Virginia are talking about, Alfred. They're sneaking around trying to see what Alfred's up to, because he's been acting weird lately. We kind of saw that the way he was looking at Etienne, and he was just acting very strange. So they want to see if he's up to anything nefarious, right? And these two chicks are not above crawling in windows to, if somebody appears not to be at home and the door's locked. But if there's a window that's cracked, heck, climb on in. Nothing wrong with that, right? I got really tired all of a sudden. I'm probably going to have to switch to an energy drink here. In fact, I think that's what I'll do. I won't take myself out. I'll just be right back. I don't know, the poet. I mean, I guess I'll probably depend on Steve or not. Whether we go, I wouldn't mind going. To be honest, so it almost appears as if Alfred killed Bernadette. So is he the killer? I don't know. I think it would be a little early to. We're only 37 minutes in to reveal the killer. But it sure looks suspicious, right? And this is Jack Blum, who played Spaz in Meatballs. He's playing a totally different character in this film. And Alfred is very creepily telling Anne and Virginia that if they're very good, they can be his next models. So, oh, it's fake. So this sends Virginia into another kind of flashback, only we don't have a visual for it. And the head of this private school they're at thinks that the kids know where Bernadette is and Etienne, because at this point they're both missing. So Mrs. Patterson is convinced that the rest of the top 10 know where Bernadette and Etienne are. And, Mrs. Patterson is basically reading her the riot act, saying, y'all are all rich and you think you can get away with anything, that you don't have to follow the rules. And they're all basically going to get detention. So Rudy's really pissed off, apparently, because, well, he was being mean to Maggie, and Maggie, went out with Steve for the night. What do you expect? Rudy got very violent very quickly. So one thing this movie has is a lot of, what I call red herrings. And I'm not going to say who's a red herring, who's not a red herring, because we don't want to give this away, do we? So we're seeing Greg is, he's lifting some weights. And waiting for Amelia to get back with pizza. And apparently it's somebody they all know, okay? Because we kind of established that with Bernadette, because she said, thank God it's you. And Greg is like, oh, it's you. Her dad might be one to poet. Yeah, that's, like I say, we got whole heck of a lot of red herrings in this. But, as people start to get killed off, they are out of the running, right? And some people don't really have any motives, But as we all know, a lot of times who the killer turns out to be is the person that you would least suspect, especially upon first watch. And, as Greg is telling this person, make sure you tighten it when you put, heavier weight on it. Uh-oh. So now they're moving where he can't put the weights back on the rack. And there's only so long he can hold this up, right? Oh no. Oh, that was a double whammy, folks. So Amelia's back with a pizza with anchovies, and looks like she's got beer there, but Greg's nowhere to be found, right? Well, these people are violent. Kill them, kill them. Hope I don't fall asleep on you guys. I don't know. Just sometimes in the evenings, I just get really sleepy. I'm going to try to drink enough of this energy drink to get me to, wake up a little bit. So Steve's been taking, bets again. And he's afraid that, he's going to end up losing his shirt at one point. And thankfully, Alfred caught the soccer ball. And so Steve's not going to lose his shirt this time. You took Rudy's girlfriend. I bet you're not, above taking bets on the soccer game. Come on, Steve. But now he's hugging around on Virginia. Alfred just got kissed by Anne. And now Virginia's hugging around on Rudy. I think Virginia gets around, folks. Oh, Maggie's not very happy about that. Of course, Anne's like, yeah, go for it. So we don't know what it is right now that Rudy is making sure he buries real good. So right now we are 50 minutes into the film, so we've still got an hour to go with this one. Like I said, this one is a little bit longer than the ones we have watched thus far this weekend. Excuse me. Whew. I just wish I hadn't gotten so tired. I was fine earlier. So coming up here, remember when I said there were a lot of red herrings in this movie? It's going to kind of cast a little suspicion on Rudy here, because Rudy's going to start to act really, really weird here shortly. Just downright creepy, in fact. I think I'm going to go get the rest of my rice pudding real quick. Maybe I need a little more sugar. I don't know. So there was a little snippet there where Virginia said, I was here before you were, Rudy. And he's like, oh, really? I don't recall. And she said, just for a few weeks. And she says, everybody seems to have forgotten me. And now Rudy's acting like Quasimodo. So now Rudy's going to start to act very bizarre. I mean, super bizarre. And again, because this movie is an hour and 50 minutes, even though Rudy's acting very bizarre and stuff, I don't know that they would still reveal the killer that early. Oh, this poor priest here, because he sees all this blood and the blood on the bell tower and all that stuff, or the bell rope. Sorry. He's convinced somebody just got murdered. And we're not sure what happened. Virginia is wanting to see David. because she's frightened. She doesn't know what's going on. She doesn't know what happened to Rudy, um, and she's kind of having another flashback here because she saw him pushing a accident victim on a gurney there in the hospital, and we see them cutting into her brain. And of course, we know this is from the past. And something tells me you're not supposed to wake up during brain surgery. And we see that her brain is swelling. And so they're hyperventilating her. And then they say, basically her brain's swelling. And they say she's done. And you hear the doctor say, now close her, she's dead. So David's basically just, watching her and watching her reaction to all this. So David tells her, you've remembered the operation is coming back piece by piece. And then she starts talking about the knife and the blood. But she's not talking about the operation. She's talking about Rudy. And she's trying to make David understand. Steve always kind of laughs at me when I talk about like these 1980, 81 fashions, which I realize are in a lot of ways a carryover from the late 70s. But I just love these skirts and sweaters and stuff like that, especially Virginia wears in this. But basically nowadays you can wear whatever you want to wear. I think we're in a time period where it doesn't matter. You can be retro, you can be whatever you want to be. So David, he's upset naturally, as everybody else is, about the missing students. And apparently there was an anonymous phone call. We don't know by who at this point, but that they're digging out in the garden at the school. And Amelia is very upset because she says, they're thinking Greg might be dead. So everybody's going to run outside because this guy says, hey, you know, they found something. You know. Now, if you watch this scene coming up closely where everybody's standing out there waiting to see what they're going to dig up here, if you look at Tracy Bregman's character, and it's going to happen really quickly, and I'm not exactly sure which shot it's in, but you can see one of the extras trying to get in front of Tracy Bregman, and she is visibly irritated that he's doing that. And it appears that Rudy's turned up again. Ah, Rudy, you practical joker, you. And they think that they've, you know, unearthed one of the missing kids' skulls. You can see Tracy Bregman back there by, I believe she's by Matt Craven there. And again, I'm not sure exactly which scene it was in that the extra is trying to aggressively push in front of her. But you may have to watch it scene by scene. And some of you might say, geez, dang, I don't even care about what Tracy Bregman so all of a sudden, Rudy and Maggie are just back together again. These people change partners like people change clothes. And then she tells him, you're still a bastard. So Virginia has a birthday coming up Sunday, and she's, of course, wanting to invite David to have dinner on her birthday. But I find this weird. I don't know if maybe they filmed things out of order or something. But see, now it looks like Rudy's back with Virginia. I could take Virginia to the dance, can't I, sweetheart? And we see Maggie is swimming. You will see her in a minute. So I don't know. Again, it doesn't really make sense. But maybe they filmed things out of order or something and they forgot. And there is Maggie. And it looks like I don't know why she's doing this exactly, but she looks like she's dead here. Why would you do this? And Virginia gets scared and runs away, but Maggie's all right. But Chicky, I don't know why you were like just floating like you were dead in the water. So that set off seeing Maggie floating underwater. You're seeing another person's face, and that's obviously not Maggie. So Virginia is having more flashbacks, more memories are coming back. So it appears that Virginia is going to go back to the graveyard to visit her mother's grave. And Alfred's out there looking creepy at him. We're not sure what Alfred wants at this point. He looks like he's going to puke, to be honest there. No, the poet, you say, I think the dad killed the mom, and now his daughter reminds him of her, so she has to go too. That's an interesting take on it. The poet. We'll see if you're correct. I don't want to give it away. So, what is Alfred reaching out? Okay. Oh, now this is a switch, isn't it? It looks like Virginia just stabbed poor Alfred. The plot thickens, doesn't it? And all he was going to do was give her a white rose. Poor Alfred. So now we see that Jenny's dad, there's been like an oil spill or something like that, or something's happened, and her father's going to have to go out of town. And it's at this point that Virginia's realizing that daddy's not going to be home on her birthday. Now, he doesn't know if he will get home by her birthday, but, he tells her he's going to try. He says, I'll be back. I'll be back by Sunday afternoon. Now, he's promising her he'll be back. Now they're at it looks like a disco. Of course, this was 1981, so I think there was still some disco going on at that point in time. Amelia seems to cheered up as soon as another guy offered to dance with her. So Steve is aggravated with Maggie. He says, Rudy, will you please go dance with her? She's driving me crazy. And we're soon going to be approaching my favorite kill in the entire movie. I tell you though, Virginia goes from being your standard goody two shoes, good girl, to being kind of slutty at the drop of a hat. Don't do it, Steve. Don't give in to temptation, Steve. Ah, damn it, he is. What's that Princess Leia like thing that Anne's got going on with her hair? Of course, when I said my favorite kill was coming up of this movie, it's going to be the shish kebab kill. So which is fast approaching, folks. We've got about 35 minutes left of the film. So we got a good 20 minutes over the standard slasher movie film time frame. So, and you know, some of them a little bit less. So I'd love to hear, you know, DePoet, what you think of the time frame. Do you think it's about right for this movie? Do you think it's too long? Does anybody think it's too short? Um, but I just, you know, if you got any thoughts on it and you want to share. Oh boy. Do y'all see where this is going? Oh no. Yep, this is indeed my favorite kill of the whole film. Oh. Good point, DePoet. You say since this is a mystery, it's worth the length. Yeah, I mean, this is such a, in my opinion, this is such a well paced slasher film that I don't even notice that it's longer. And believe it or not, and I forgot to say this earlier, the original version that I watched, I think it may have been cut a little bit because there's going to be a scene coming up a little later, nearer to the end of the film, where a room is completely splashed with blood. And when someone gets killed, there's blood flying all over the place. Now, I don't recall it being that way when I watched the first VHS that I watched of this that I rented. So I don't know if they went back and put some extra, as Joe Bob would say, slime gloppola back in it, or what happened. Or maybe my memory's just not too good. But funnily enough, I watched it on VHS. I don't remember that scene being that bloody. Fast forward to me watching it on satellite television on one of the pay channels where I noticed this extra bloody scene in it. So that was just really strange. So now we're seeing Virginia in the shower, and it looks like she is going to go into one of those flashback modes. Now, the woman you are seeing there driving the car in the rain and drinking, unfortunately, is Virginia's mother. And she's very upset. So this is where, remember near the beginning of the film where Virginia was scared of the game? This is why, folks. Because her mother, in her stupor and her anger, got caught on the bridge. And unfortunately, the car falls into the water below. Now, this would be just absolutely horrifying. And I have a fear of, something like this happening where I can't get out of water and I'm drowning. And that would just cause me to have a heart attack because of how claustrophobic I am. If I could not breathe, yeah, that would just do me in. It would do me in before the drowning would. And you can see that the mother is trapped. And she says, I'm going to open the window and you need to swim, Virginia. And then, of course, the water just overtakes the mother. And that is the scene where you see the mother's mouth open and there's all this water around her. And, it's all starting to make sense now. And then we see that Virginia has apparently let the shower overflow and everything, and she kind of went out of it. She opens the shower curtain, and oh no, she sees Anne dead in the bathtub. And of course, she thinks, well, I've killed Anne. I love that bathroom, though. I didn't mention that earlier. Some people might say, oh, who cares, Dana? But I love that blue tile. That's just absolutely beautiful. I wish we had blue tile in our bathroom. We've got white and green tiles. Mostly white, though. Okay. So David has come to check on Jenny or Virginia and, see if everything's okay. And Virginia is sitting on the stairwell and she said, David, I killed her. She's upstairs. She's in the bathroom. I killed her. So David is going to have to get some tough love. And he's like, you come on, you show me. You come upstairs and you show me. And he has to get tough. He says, look, he's trying to show her that there's nothing but a very clean bathtub and a dry bathtub. There's no water everywhere anymore. Now we are getting to I always like to tell y'all where the final quarter of the film or when the final quarter is coming up. And that we are making our way to the final quarter of the film. And, usually, especially with slasher films that, as the poet mentioned, that are a mystery, this is where things start to, all come together. And if they are well made and don't try to cop out, and I have seen some films over the years that copped out, and that is something I just cannot tolerate. But if they can tie up most of their loose ends and it makes some, degree of sense, unless we're dealing with some kind of supernatural element or supernatural force, with that, I can be a little more lenient. But hopefully, even if it doesn't tie things up with a nice, neat little bow, it's relatively it makes sense. Okay. Also, Well, I forgot what I was even going to say, what point I was going to make. Maybe it'll come back to me. But like I said, y'all, my brain is just mush a lot of times. So it is now officially Virginia's birthday because it's after 12 o'clock midnight. So the poet, considering the comments that you've made, I take it that this is the first time that you've seen Happy Birthday to Me. So I hope you're enjoying this one. You say, yes, it is a good movie. And yes, this is your first time watching it. Well, I am so glad, the poet, that I'm getting to introduce you to all these movies. And sometimes, as long as somebody doesn't give away everything, sometimes it's good to watch them for the first time with somebody, preferably somebody that has already seen it. Again, provided that they cannot give all the secrets away. Now, my dad, he would not be a good person to watch a movie with that you had not seen and he had, because he has ruined the endings of more than one movie for me, bless his heart. He doesn't mean to, but his excuse is always, oh, I thought you had seen this movie. So he revealed the ending to Carrie to me. Another film called Sweet Hostage with Linda Blair and Martin Sheen, which is a very good movie if you've never seen it. So David is telling Jenny, you're going to have to go back. What do all these people, what do all the missing students have to do with your birthday? Okay. Because the closer it got to Virginia's birthday, the more kids disappeared. So we are going back and we're seeing her mother, who has invited 6 of the richest kids from the Crawford Academy to come to Virginia's birthday party. And her mother is drinking way more than she should. And her mother wants to know where these kids are. And of course, her father, even then, could not make it home for her birthday. And there's a lot of animosity towards Virginia's father by her mother. In fact, she said, tell her yourself, you bastard. So there's really some not good vibes between Virginia's mother and father. And of course, Virginia doesn't want to make her dad feel bad. So she's basically telling him, all my friends are here. We're having a good time, but we miss you. And her mother is going to want to know why'd you lie to your father? Thank you, kids, for the birthday wishes. I've had lots of warm birthday wishes today. It's really, I mean, warmed my heart, and like I said earlier, it made turning the big 50 a lot easier with all these nice birthday wishes. So Virginia's telling her mother that the reason why they're not at her party is Ann Thomerson. And remember, Ann is Virginia's good friend. There's a party at her house and everybody is there. So Estelle, her mother, is, well, if they won't come to our party, we'll go to theirs. And she seems to know the caretaker, whoever this guy is. And he says, Estelle, you can send your little girl to the Crawford Academy, but that ain't going to change who you are. So apparently, Ann's father and Virginia's mother must have had a little fling. And apparently, because she says, I can't be bought off ever again because I'm a rich woman now. So Virginia comes out of this flashback or dream or whatever you want to call it, combination thereof, and she's fighting David, and she, leaves the room. And now we're getting ready to see the blood spattered, very gory, actually, killing coming up. That I swear to you, I don't remember seeing this murder this way when I saw the VHS. It wasn't until a few years later that I rewatched this on satellite television on one of the paid channels that I saw this scene coming up that is so bloody. With the blood going all over the walls and the mirror and the closet door, the floor, on the legs and feet there, the carpet. And we see that Jenny's or Virginia's dad did make it home. He's got presents for her. He's getting ready to go into the house now. And it is now officially Jenny's birthday. But Virginia is nowhere to be found. Her father's, going through the house looking for her. He's going to make his way upstairs. Oh, no. So, what's the first thing he's going to think? That something terrible has befallen Virginia. So he's going out to the cemetery, and there's a little, well, he thinks this is Virginia here, this girl that's standing out there. But this is Amelia, and Amelia seems to be frozen in fear pretty much. Apparently, she was on her way to Virginia's birthday party, and she must have saw something horrific. So we've got this little cottage, I guess you would call it, out there beyond the graveyard, and Virginia's father's going to make his way there. But first, he comes across his wife's grave, where it looks like somebody has dug up her casket. And when he opens it, instead of seeing his wife, it seems that his wife's corpse is missing. So he's going to make his way to the little cottage. And there's David's body there. Like I always say, hopefully those of you that are watching this or these movies in the comfort of your own home can have the sound on and everything, so that you can hear the dialogue, etc., because, I'm the only one really, or anybody else that would be on the live stream on camera with me. We would be the only ones that would have to worry about our audio. Okay. So we are fast approaching the finale of Happy Birthday to Me. So Virginia's father has made his way inside the little cottage, and it looks like there's a birthday cake there, some birthday hats and stuff like that, but you can't really see who or what is sitting around the table. Oh no, it's his wife's corpse. Somebody had removed her from her casket and put her at the table inside the little cottage. And now it appears that Virginia has completely flipped her lid. And it looks like Virginia is the killer, right? Seems that everybody made it to Virginia's birthday party after all, although they're not too lively. That is a very pretty birthday cake. I'd almost not want to cut that. And her, basically, her father is sitting there in disbelief, and he's saying, what have I done to you? I had no choice. The doctors were so sure. And we're still not exactly sure what is going on here. Oh, well, she took care of Daddy, didn't she? So it appears that, she's calling Anne a bitch, and oh no, my poor dear little sister. Now you may be thinking, what in the world? What is going on here? Well, the real Virginia Wainwright, please stand up. So have we got twins here? Okay, so she's saying I ruined your last party. She says, with everyone's help, they're all here just like you always wanted, all seated around the table, waiting to celebrate your birthday. And then, as a special treat, they all get to watch you die. So you may still be a little bit confused here, and that's okay. So there's a struggle here. It's Anne. So if there was any doubt, now it should become clear. And yeah, I know there's no way she could have looked that much like Virginia. And this is a problem that people have with this movie, if they do have any problem, is that they refer to this as the Scooby Doo ending, where Anne is unmasked there. Oh, well, that's okay, kids. Thank you for stopping by. And you have a great rest of your night, too, kids. So basically, Anne is telling how she did it. She, I guess, would wear this mask and appear to be a Virginia, and she would basically chloroform Virginia so she would be out. And when she woke up, she didn't remember anything. And we also find out that the reason why Anne is so murderously angry with Virginia is that she is the sister of Anne. that when her mother had an affair with Anne's father, Jenny was the product of it. So she was not actually the blood daughter of the man that she thought was her father. That Will Thomerson is actually her father. So, so this was, I mean, this was a mystery, in my opinion, a very well-paced slasher / mystery movie. Yeah, the poet, especially during this time period, a female killer, that's an odd one. And it's sort of like the Scream scenario, and I hope I'm not giving anything away. So hopefully everybody has seen Scream, and we actually had a watch along for Scream, and she just killed Anne there. Where Billy got revenge because Sidney's mother slept with his father, and then his mother left. And basically the same thing happened in this, that Anne's mother couldn't deal with the affair, and so she left Mr. Thomerson. So it looks like Virginia, poor Virginia, is going to be blamed for all these deaths after all. Because the cop showed up and said, "My God, what have you done?" I mean, he shows up. I mean, what was he supposed to think? But we have officially reached the end of Happy Birthday to Me. If, like the poet, this was your first time watching it, I hope you really enjoyed it. If this has been, the 10th or so time, or the 5th, or whatever, I hope you enjoyed watching it along with me tonight. I had a lot of fun revisiting this film. Again, this is one of my favorite slashers from the 80s, and it is a mystery, as the poet said. Again, it's a little bit longer than some movies similar to it. But in the end, it made sense. It kept you going for a while, all except the reveal pulling the mask off. I don't think the mask would have looked that realistic, right? It was obviously Melissa Sue Anderson doing, both of the parts. But I didn't have a problem with the quote unquote Scooby-Doo ending. I never saw it as a detractor of the film. So I'm going to continue to stay with y'all until the credits finish rolling, as I always do. But the poet and Kits and Uncle Bill, I want to thank all of y'all for being in the chat tonight, for keeping me company in the chat during my birthday weekend celebration, watch along weekend, where we watched Happy Birthday to Me, and I had some cake, and this was a very nice ending to my 50th birthday, and I want to thank you guys and gals for making it special for me. For those of you that maybe didn't feel comfortable getting in the chat, or you were watching the stream on a device where you couldn't chat at the same time you were watching the stream, I want to thank you guys and gals as well. And for those of you that either couldn't stay for the duration, or you couldn't join me as I was doing this live at all, but you'll watch it on the replay, I appreciate you guys and I can't even talk, guys and cows as well. But we have officially reached the end of Happy Birthday to Me, credits and all. If anybody has any questions or comments or anything, I'll be glad to stay around for a few minutes. Otherwise, probably in a couple of minutes at 9:05, I'll probably go on and tie everything up and get on out of here. But again, this has been fun. I appreciated those of you that were able to join me tonight. The Poet, you stayed until the end, and I really, really appreciate it. Keep in mind the watch along films just keep coming, and hopefully they will continue. We've also got the Comic Relief Fridays, the debut of it coming up next Friday. We're going to be watching Morgan Stewart's Coming Home. That's going to be starting at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Friday, I think that's June the 12th. Again, I'm going to try my best tomorrow to do both the pre-recorded Evil Dead Chicks Tiki Bar and My Path to Becoming a Positive Renegade. But if I'm not able to, due to me having to work to get some money to pay my bills and stuff, I will reschedule it for the following Sunday. So it is now 9:05. So I'm going to go ahead and tie things up. As always, I'm off like a dirty shirt. This shirt ain't dirty, but I'm off like one. Do you know what the subject is for that, for Positive Renegade, the Poet? Give me just 1 second here. I thought I knew what it was, but I just want to double check. We will be talking, if I'm able to have it, we'll be talking about eating disorders. So that will be the topic. And like I say, if I'm not able to do it tomorrow night, then I will do it the following Sunday. Okay? And as long as I'm able to record the Evil Dead Chicks Tiki Bar tomorrow, I will be making that tangy party punch without booze. If you're an adult and you can handle your liquor, you can add a little booze to it, but the version I'm going to be making will be safe for the kiddos, so, and safe for everybody pretty much. But I also want to remind everybody, as I always do before I get off of here for the night, to be kind to one another and blaze that trail. Have a fantastic rest of your Saturday night, folks. And I'll see everybody next time.